Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Barb and I'm so happy that you're here for my very first YouTube video. I wanted to kick it off with a really special segment that I've done on my social media in the past. If you know, you know, get vulnerable with me. So if you're new here, what we used to do once a week on my social media is we would do an open Q&A format, but it was completely anonymous, where we would share something that happened to us that week and normalize that it's okay to not be okay. So what that meant was we just felt like overall, everyone that posted in it with me anyways, we're all in agreement that social media only allows us to show the best version of ourselves, and we tend to hide, the bad and the ugly. We only showcase the good. It makes it almost impossible to feel like it's okay to go through things when all you see is people looking their best, their happiest, and you feel like it's almost wrong to show anything else besides that because you're almost like a phony and you're not supposed to feel these things if you are posting on your social media because that's not your best self. And what we present on social media is a little percentage of our lives, and we have so much that goes on outside of that beyond ourselves, our family, our friends, our partners, and so on. With that being said, first Get Vulnerable With Me episode, I just wanted to open up about myself and share a different side of me that some of you may know, some of you may not. So a couple of years ago, before I got into content creation, I was in the corporate world for about 4 years, and before that, I was on a pre-med track, and I finished college with my degree. Then I ended up going to get my master's. After that, just had this awakening when I realized I wasn't passionate about being in the medical space at all. It just kind of felt like it was what I was supposed to do, especially because I moved here from Brazil. My family kind of pushed me in that direction, and that's just kind of what everybody did. But after I realized it wasn't what I was passionate about, I decided to pivot to sales. And I started working for a payroll company, and I did outside sales. So I was going business to business, door knocking, on foot, cold calling, just doing everything possible to drive my numbers up. And when I was about almost 4 years in, I kind of just took a step back and realized I wasn't passionate about sales. I definitely wasn't passionate about what I was selling. And I felt like I was just constantly chasing goals that I never really completely achieved because there was always the next thing. And I could never turn my brain off. I was constantly on the grind, constantly churning wheels. How can I make more money? How can I make more sales? How can I reach more people? And I just felt like I was doing all this work to make somebody else richer for me to be able to get a tiny percentage of whatever that I was actually selling. So something hit me where I just felt like completely wanted to shift gears. And I took a long, hard look at myself, and I realized I was drinking every weekend because I just wanted to completely forget about my life because I was so miserable and I was just not healthy. I wasn't working out as much. I was literally just kind of existing. It felt like my life was on autopilot. And once I had that happen to me, I just kind of got into a really dark place because I felt like instead of going where I wanted to originally pre-med, I went a completely different direction and I just had no way out. It felt like I literally didn't know anything else because all I did for the past 4 years was sales. And every time I tried applying to another job, it seemed like only other sales job wanted me. So then I realized, oh my gosh, now all I'm good for is just sales. And it felt like I literally couldn't do anything else. And I got to a really dark place where I just started telling myself life like this just isn't worth living. It got really dark for me for a while. I went through it and I realized that I felt like I let my family down because they moved all the way from Brazil to give me a better future. And I was miserable with what I was doing, scared as shit because I was seeing people have their 10, 20, 30, 40-year anniversary somewhere thinking that was gonna be me. And I couldn't imagine being that unhappy for another even 5 years, let alone 40. And I felt like I had nowhere to run and I just wanted to crawl into a hole and be like, what else is there for me? I cannot keep doing this. I'm literally driving my body into the ground, my mental health into the ground, and I felt like I had no other direction. But little by little, I started getting more involved with social media, and I started making a few connections with people that I knew and just seeing opportunities to start doing photo shoots and then having little modeling gigs that I was getting booked for. And even though I wasn't making that much money, it was at least something to make me feel like I was making some progress. And after a few weeks, a couple months, right when my 4-year anniversary happened at this company, I realized that I finally made enough, after doing it on the side, taking up my weekends to do photo shoots, using whatever time I had after work hours to build my portfolio, to show up wherever I could, to be in the right rooms. After taking a couple of months to kind of balance this on the side while also slowly, exiting the company, I realized that I kind of just couldn't do it anymore. And after having a little bit of traction with content creation, I figured that if I'm gonna take a chance on anybody, it better be me, because I'm out here doing all this work for somebody else. And if I could apply that same work ethic to doing something for myself, I felt like I would be doing myself a disservice if I didn't at least try. Here we are, 2 years later, I've been doing it full time, and it's been a really crazy journey. I've had to deal with a lot of uncertainty, a lot of months of zero income and just trusting the process and letting go and letting God, literally. And it's been really hard to accept the, ups and downs that comes with being on your own, because you don't realize that, that's why people stay in these jobs where they're comfortable, because there's nothing like having that security, that safety net of that 2-week direct deposit hitting your account. But I just felt like if I wanted to do anything at this point and be happy, I would have to do something for myself. With that said, I finally decided to take the leap and I quit my corporate job. I started doing content creation full time, and I've had so many opportunities come my way because I was able to take time away from what was making me unhappy and pouring it into myself and things that did make me happy. And the road's been rocky. It's definitely been challenging. Nobody gave me the answers. Nobody said, here's what you gotta do to be successful. And I'm still figuring out as I go, don't get me wrong. It's only been a couple of years, but I don't regret it a single bit. If I had to do it again, I totally would. If I had to go through all the ups and downs, I would, because I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about getting out of my comfort zone, how much better it feels to pour into yourself, because you are absolutely the best project that you'll ever work on. How many talents that you probably don't even realize you have because you're so stuck in this place of being around maybe things that don't serve you or that don't align with you. When you're just grabbing anything, your hands are full and your hands aren't gonna be open to receiving the opportunities that are meant for you. All that to say, I feel like I struggled a lot in the beginning, and one thing that people don't realize is that I had to go through this rocky road to get to where I am today, and I'm still on the journey of being a successful content creator. But at the very least, I get asked this question all the time, is just kind of like where I started, where I came from, and where I'm headed. And that's something I wanted to share just to let you guys into this part of my life, because I feel like it's something that it's very easy to assume, from seeing my social media or seeing anybody's social media, that life is just perfect and everything's always beautiful and amazing. But people don't realize how much work that not just me, but probably a lot of people had to go through to be able to take a chance on themselves and lose that security, lose that safety net, I had people sending me text saying I was I'm not gonna even say the names, saying that I was an idiot, saying that I was making the biggest mistake of my life by doing this. And it was something that was so hard to overcome, because I was like, what if they're right? What if they do have a point? What if I'm making a huge mistake? Because I left a job where I was making really good money. I ended up being the #1 rep in my division my last year, just to do something where I went into it with zero income, zero certainty, just trying my best to figure it out. And honestly, the only reason I did it is because I really felt like with the work ethic I had, if I were to apply it to something for me, there's no way it can go wrong. And it's definitely not in my timing, it's in God's timing, but I feel like slowly but surely things are falling into place. And the reason I'm sharing this with you guys is because I wanted to give you some more insight on what made me me, where I came from, and just kind of share more about why I'm so passionate about what I do, is because it definitely didn't come easy for me. It definitely wasn't something that just fell into my lap. I've been busting my butt every single month, every single week, just to be able to get myself out there and just continue to grow in this space. So if this resonates with you, if you're someone who's kind of stuck in that rat race of not being happy and wanting to try something new and get out of your comfort zone, I hope that my story will be able to give you some, assurance or maybe peace of mind that the road definitely isn't easier by any means, but it's definitely more satisfying. And like I said, the best project you're gonna work on is definitely yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this little video of me and where I came from, and just me being a little bit more vulnerable about this part of my life with you guys. So I'm definitely gonna be focusing more on topics that you guys bring to me moving forward. So if there's anything that you want me to talk about, common topics, maybe something that you went through that you want me to open up about and just share here, please comment below or reach out to me directly through my socials, and I'd love to hear back from you guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.